Hello grade 11s. In this lesson we are going to plan a road trip. We will learn about finding distances on maps and using the distances to do further calculations. Joy and two of her friends want to travel from Uppington to East London. They will be traveling in Joy's car and sharing the cost of the petrol equally. Let's help them to plan the trip. Here is the route that they plan to use. Does this map give them enough details to make the trip? They need to have more information. They need to know which roads to follow, where they will be able to stop and get petrol. They also need to know the distance they will be traveling. Using this information, we can help them to calculate the length of time it will take to travel and the amount of petrol the car will use. A strip map is very useful for planning a trip. This one focuses on the route between Uppington and East London. It shows the roads that Joy should follow and the distances between stops and the total distance of 950 kilometers. A strip map will always be vertical, even if the route is not vertical. This is to simplify the route for the driver because it is difficult to adjust our view to the real directions shown on a normal map. Drivers should stop regularly when doing long distances. Joy will need to stop several times to rest and to fill up with petrol. Let's calculate how much petrol Joy's car will use on the trip down to East London. Joy's car uses 12 litres of petrol per 100 kilometers. The total trip is 950 kilometers. To make this calculation a bit easier, we're going to round up the distance between Uppington and East London to 1,000 kilometers. To change 100 kilometers to 1,000, we multiply it by 10. This means we multiply 12 litres by 10 and get 120 litres. If Joy's fuel tank can hold 50 litres of petrol, she would need to start the trip with a full tank and still fill up twice along the way. One tank of petrol will allow them to travel for roughly 416 kilometers. Let's look at the strip map again to find places that they can stop for petrol and a rest. Remember, it is better to fill up with petrol before you run out. Joy starts the trip with a full tank. She can only go for 416 kilometers on this tank. This means that they should stop in Brits Town, which is 375 kilometers away. Once Joy has filled up, she's able to travel a further 416 kilometers before filling up again. Let's find the next stop she should make. There are 291 kilometers between Brits Town and Craddock. There are 460 kilometers between Brits Town and Alice. Joy should stop for more petrol at Craddock, otherwise she'll run out of petrol before she gets to Alice. Joy and her two friends are going to split the cost of the petrol. If petrol costs 13 Rand per litre, how much will the trip cost and how much will each person pay? Earlier we calculated that Joy would use 120 litres of petrol. The petrol costs 13 Rand per litre. 13 Rand times 120 litres equals 1,560 Rand. This cost still needs to be split between the three travellers. We do this by dividing the cost by 3. 1,560 Rand divided by 3 is equal to 520 Rand. Each person will contribute 520 Rand towards the cost of petrol. Now let's calculate how long the trip will take if Joy travels at an average speed of 100 kilometers and takes 2 rest stops of half an hour each. 950 kilometers divided by 100 kilometers per hour is equal to 9.5 hours of driving time. Now we add 9.5 hours of driving time to the 2 stops of half an hour each to get the total traveling time. 9.5 plus 0.5 plus 0.5 equals 10.5 hours. This means that if they start the trip at 8 a.m., they will reach East London 10.5 hours later. This means they would arrive at 6:30 p.m. We hope you have enjoyed learning how to plan a journey. Remember to look at the tasks for this section in the Working with Maps task videos. You'll also be able to learn more about maps on our website www.mindset.co.za/learn. Goodbye.